Open. Hi, everybody. Welcome to your first banishment ceremony. So how this will work is I will ask some questions, we'll chat for a bit, and then it will come time to vote. When we do the vote, you will Slack me directly the name of the person you would like to go home. I will then count up those votes and read them. Once we have the consensus, a person will be banished from the island. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So Lisa, I want to start with you. So you watched last season. How does it compare watching it to actually playing it now?
Oh, tell me if you hear the airplane. Hold on, I'm going to mute for like 2 seconds.
She's keeping us in suspense. Go ahead.
Yeah, there we go. Airplane. Anyways, okay. So it's completely freaking different than what I expected. Slack is a whole other demon. It's over there, just creeping in the shadows, and it's something completely different from what people are actually watching during the show. It's pretty insane. Obviously the show is the show, and just competing in it is obviously a whole other story. Your brain is in a different mindset. So it's a trip already. It's day, 3? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess technically. So, Brett, I want to ask about like that Slack component. Does everyone get back to the island and immediately start slacking? Are you slacking in the general tribe thread, or are you instantly trying to form connections and friendships and relationships?
Yeah, I think immediately it started in that tribe thread. I think that people are nervous to take any kind of strong action immediately, especially as we're still getting to know each other without actually being able to be on a physical island together. So I think that common thread is where we spent a lot of time at first, then very, very slowly that one started getting quiet as I don't know how many started getting loud.
Sure. So off of that, Erin, I want to ask, after we kind of introduced and said these are going to be the teams, there was, each team was allowed 10 minutes to kind of get to know you. How did your team utilize the time, and what were kind of the feelings? Were you tentative to be like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and be that first person? Or was it just kind of like sensing the vibes of everyone?
Well, I think, as we know, Lisa is the chatterbox, so she's gonna kick us off into the conversation. And I say that with love. Like, she definitely, I feel like she let us into it. But yeah, I think we were just it's an awkward time, just launching into a chat with a bunch of people you don't know. And I think we were all just kind of like doing the pleasantries and just being like, yeah, what are we getting ourselves into? Sure. And when we got in the Zoom, or the Slack, I think was kind of when it set in, like, oh, this is what it's going to be like,
Yeah. So off of that, Jerry, I want to ask, how do you kind of, balance, you want to get to know people and form connections, because that's how the relationships are built. But you also kind of want to have a plan starting to form, but you don't want to be that person who's instigating all the gameplay. How did you find navigating that initial beginning with people?
Yeah, I think this game, like you said, at its foundation is a social game. Like, your connections, your relationships, they carry you through. They make sure you're safe. They watch your back. Sometimes they backstab you. So all these different things. But at its core, Survivor or Quarantine Island is about forming connections, and that's all you can do, I think, at this point. So. Sure.
And so, Casey, we added this new element. Well, we added 2 new elements, one being the Zoom tokens. How did you feel when you heard that was going to be a new thing that we have? So it's like, okay, I will be able to do some face-to-face. Do I want to save it for, crazy game time discussions, or do I want to show someone they can trust me, I'm willing to use a coin on them, let's start talking, that sort of thing?
Definitely think it's a good thing. I think it's a way to show that you are invested in someone. I think it's hard when you're just behind a screen and you're just typing. It's hard to develop that relationship. So knowing that that's definitely an option is something that I think is a really great thing.
So you bring up something interesting, and Akash, I know you outside of this game, and I know you to be someone who has a big personality, but Slack is hard because some of that gets lost in the typing. How do you make sure that people know what your personality is while not, while still having to like type it?
Such a great question. I just learned 2 minutes ago how to start sending GIFs to everyone. So be prepared. That is how I'm going to describe all of my emotions. But prior to that, the last couple of days, it really has been just that though, like showing that you're taking the time to invest in someone and just talk and get to know them and talk about what you're feeling at all times.
Yeah. And so another thing that we added were these Zoom lists, right? So after your first initial getting to meet people, you had to write down 3 names of people you wanted to talk with. So Ryan, how did you approach that? Is it, these are people maybe I didn't get a chance to know as well in the original one. These are people I think I would hit it off with. How are you kind of approaching those lists? Oh, you're muted. You got to unmute. Don't silence yourself, Ryan.
I just was screaming.
Okay.
I think I just did like a grab bag of each one because I was like, I don't really know like what the right answer is. I was just like, I don't, it's funny that like we're in travel right now because I'm like, oh my God, I can actually like see all their faces. Like I've been talking to them nonstop for 2 days or whatever. And so it's like, this is as much FaceTime as I feel like we're going to get for a second. But in terms of the list, yeah, I was just, I just was like, I hope someone else wants to talk to me that I picked.
Sure. So an interesting thing about the list, and Allison, I'm going to ask you this, is, you could have written down 3 people and they didn't write down your name, but there were 3 other people who had your name. Was there any sort of discussion with people after the fact of who was on your list, or, I had you, but we didn't connect. I hope you like me, that sort of thing?
I just pulled a Ryan. I
How dare.
honestly, like, it was sort of like, I didn't even know who to pick. Like, I was just like, oh, pick these 3 people. And the people that I picked, I did end up connecting and said like, oh, it's like, nice to meet you over, I almost said Skype. Nice to meet you over Slack, but I did try and connect with you, but it is what it is. It's like the odds are, I don't know how to explain it. Like I did say, oh, I would have liked to chat with you over Zoom, but like no hard feelings. It was such a scramble anyways to pick. Mm-hmm. Like yelling at me. I thought I had more time to pick, and then I was like, okay. So that's how it was for me.
Yeah, and you bring up something interesting. I mean, in this game, like it's hard not to take things personal, but you almost can't because there's so much happening and you have to be able to adapt and move forward quickly. Erin, did you find yourself having to deal with that at all with the list of like, oh, bummer, someone I put on there didn't put me, that hurts my feelings? Or was it just like, okay, it wasn't meant to be, let's keep moving forward?
Yeah, to say I totally blocked out the list would be an understatement. I thought about it definitely that first night, but I did not even think about it again, really. And I know some people surely connected, but I didn't take it too personally. It was like I totally picked randomly, and I think everyone else kind of had a similar experience.
Okay. So now I want to talk about, we have our first challenge, and that was yesterday. So Jerry, how, were people talking about like, these are my strengths, these are what I'm good at? Or how did you guys figure out who was going to do what? Because again, it's almost like no one wants to be that first person that's like, I'm amazing at this and put a target on their back, but you do want your team to win.
Right. I mean, you gave us that list of things to prepare, and, based off of past seasons, I think it was, I don't remember who, but some of us kind of just put in the group chat, like, this might be up and coming, like this particular like shoe tying challenge might be on the radar. And so we practiced from there and kind of got a sense of, who might be good where. And then the broom thing. I was trying to figure that out, and we were like, it might be spinning. You spinning the broom as you balance on a single hand, that kind of stuff you like to pull on us, but turns out it was for nothing.
You guys
so
always give me such great ideas.
I mean, it was definitely a team effort to try and figure out like where our assets might be.
Sure. And so Ryan, it is hard the first vote is always hard regardless, right? No one wants to be the first voted out. How much do you feel like you should attribute to performance in that first challenge? Or is it not about the challenge? It's about the relationships that you've built.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it's like when this is literally like day one, So it's like, okay, let's be nitpicky. And like someone talked to me wrong today. Someone said LOL instead of LMAO. Oh my God, But like, honestly, to me, I'm like the challenge, it was like the first challenge. Like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, I'm so sorry for doing this. And I'm like, I thought we did well for like what we were given and the time allotted and just like team camaraderie. In terms of moving forward, I don't know what everyone's rubric is, but the challenge for me, I'm not really judging it based off that.
Sure. So Akash, you, as we spoke about on the first day, you've never watched the show. So this is kind of all new to you as you suss it out. How important is it to you to retain a strong team that can go on to win challenges so that you don't have to come back to these?
It's so important. I think at the end of the day, with how many people are in our team, I mean, that is the point of the game at this point. I don't think of it as an individual series at this moment. I think of it as something that, hey, we're doing team challenges, so we got to win them as a team no matter what. Great strengths, and we got to do this.
So, another complex thing with the first vote, Brett, I'm going to ask you is no one really wants to be the first person to throw out the name. There's always, we talk about it all the time. You never want to be that first person, but a name has to be thrown out. A name has to be, written down tonight. How do you go about that?
Yeah, and that's why I think relationships is just so much the focus. I think it's less about, hey, who do you specifically think should be leaving right now? And more so, hey, let's work together. Let me find the people that are willing to work with me right now. Because right now, there's really no reason to get rid of one individual on this team because, we're not on a beach together and someone's like terrible at making the fire and they won't pick up sticks. There's not as much as at stake here as far as like keeping ourselves fed and that kind of thing. So it's hard. It's like there's really no reason for any one specific person to go, but you need people to at least agree with you on who that person might be.
Sure. And so Lisa, I want to ask you because Aaron did lovingly refer to you as the chatterbox, and you self-proclaimed that you watched previous seasons. So do you feel that puts a target on your back, or do you feel that makes you an asset to your team because you can maybe guide them on or give them insight to the inner workings?
So it could definitely be both. I know, sometimes maybe I could say the wrong thing, like what Ryan was saying. I could say LOL and not LMAO. So, I can end up self-sabotaging that way. It is possible. But I know a lot of people have asked me, like, hey, what happened that last season? I know you watched literally every second of it. What happened? What did you see? And so, like, I've been giving my insights to people because, right now this is a team game. So that's what I'm doing.
So, Casey, I'm going to ask you because both Akash and Lisa have kind of touched on the subject of right now it's a team game. Do you feel similarly, or do you feel that it's ultimately an individual game, but we are deciding to consciously work as a team right now?
I think it is an individual game, but right now we have to work together in order for it to become an individual game. I think that we're just trying to form alliances right now, try to figure out who do you gel with, who do you get along with the best. And so once we get through this portion, then it would become an individual game.
So Allison, you know, I have to ask you, you are safe tonight, you are protected, you cannot be voted off. How, you know, do you feel relief with that, or do you feel like it would have been okay despite, because of the relationships that you've made with the people on your team?
Oh, I think it would be silly to say that I don't feel okay with it. This is the quarantine island, so you never know what can happen. And I think just based on what everyone said, it's just it's the first tribal council. It's such a crapshoot. It's like splitting hairs of deciding who should go. That I'm happy to have safety, because it could have been me.
Mm-hmm. So Erin, you kind of look like you're typing right now. Do you have your vote decided, or are you still figuring that out as we speak?
I was gonna drop in the chat that you guys might see me get struck by lightning, and then I was like, because it's raining really hard. But then I decided that ultimately that wasn't an important thing to contribute. But I'm glad I could say it with my own words.
Okay, so Jerry, I just want to ask you, and then it will be time to vote. You know, how scary or safe does silence in your Slack DMs feel?
Scary. It's you make up stuff if it's silent. Like, you don't have anything to go on if it's silent. So you're making up different scenarios. Does this person like me? Does this person hate me? Are they hiding something from me? It's paranoia at its best.
So that didn't make you feel secure of like, okay, my allies and I have figured out the plan. I can breathe easy. If I don't hear from them, that's good.
Breathe easy. No. Unclarified air here. Unfiltered.
Okay, so with that, it is time to vote. You cannot vote for Allison. She is protected and safe tonight. How this will work is I'll call your name just based on how I see you, and you'll Slack me directly with who you'd like to vote for. So we're gonna begin with Akash. Akash, please Slack me directly who you'd like to vote for. Casey, please Slack me who you'd like to vote for. Jerry, please Slack me who you'd like to vote for. Erin, please Slack me who you'd like to vote for.
She'll do anything for fame and attention, and she's
Ryan, please Slack me who you'd like to vote for. Lisa, please Slack me who you'd like to vote for. Brett, please Slack me who you'd like to vote for. And Allison, please Slack me who you'd like to vote for. Okay, before I read the votes, does anyone have an immunity idol that they would like to play? No. Okay, I'm gonna ask you all that you take your phones out and turn your flashlights on. Okay, great. Once I've read the votes, the decision is final and the contestant will be asked to leave the island. First vote, Akash. That's 1 vote Akash. Second vote, Akash. That's 2 votes Akash. Third vote, Akash. That's 3 votes Akash. His reactions are everything. Fourth vote, Lisa. That's 1 vote Lisa, 3 for Akash. Fourth vote, Akash. That's 4 votes Akash, 1 vote Lisa. Sixth vote, Akash. That's a majority, 5 votes Akash. Please turn your light off, unmute yourself. Do you have any last words you would like to say? Nothing to say?
I have no last words. I'm sorry.
Okay. Akash, thank you for joining us on this journey. Unfortunately, you have been banished. Moramora, please grab your stuff and head back to the island. Everybody else, we will see you tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the second challenge. Also, make sure you tune into our Instagram. We have a live post show. Moramora, you can take your stuff and go. Have a good night.
Thank you.